one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
Welcome in to Discover Crypto in the 2 p.m. afternoon show where we dissect the demise of Bitcoin. Oh, it's just a moment that we have to take a breath, look at the charts. I got a little trick I'm going to show you on Bitcoin today that might help you breathe easier as we head into the end of the year. And we got a lot of altcoin charts to look at today on top of some major pressures coming to not only Wall Street, but the Federal Reserve of the United States. Welcome one, welcome all to the show. I got my man, Mr. Kelly Kellum. Kelly, how are you feeling on a day such as today? Okay.
Oh, well, no, actually, it's all part of the overwhelming just choppination of everything going down in the market. I actually just looked, I have my chart up and I measured it. I mean, it's not that bad. It's only down about a little over 4 inches. So I think we're
4 inches is average, they say. I've heard that.
Well, that's the Asian market. So we are here. It's, so looking at but you know what? I mean, I think we have a little bit of some work to do, everybody. I think we got some work. I know we're going to be diving into it here in a second, but everybody let's get active in the chat. Let's all revel in the dumpster fire that everybody's feeling and ask ourselves, is this a setup for greatness? Or are we going to get some gamma sunburn from the flames? I guess the question is endurance here. So,
yeah. I mean, the price oracle gave me some pretty nasty news. Had some, I guess, premonitions, I would say. And then I open up Twitter. I mean, make sure if you want to follow me on my late night crash outs, my thoughts, go to Drew's Crypto. But something pretty ugly. Looking at Bitcoin, the account at Bitcoin, putting up this, oh my God, they deleted it. You see that? So they put up 46,000. You click into it. It's been deleted. Kelly, are they trying to warn us and they're just afraid? Like, what is going on here? They're deleting stuff.
I think it's more clear than ever that whatever plan that everybody had, this is that moment, like Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. That's what this entire market cycle has done from the FTX bottom, which hypothetically we should have dropped further, right? But that was a culmination of all those cascading failures. And then what we saw, we had a Bitcoin new all-time high before the halving. Then we had a 7-month period with the price oscillating the entire size of the market cap in 2017. And, when we hit that $20,000 mark, we were doing $17,000 to $18,000 swings for 7 months. Then we ran up, we hit 109. Then the market ended going back to 74. Then we went to 126, all just really chopping the living life out of people. I just want to share this real quick because, again, we're at 361, 362 days now, sideways price action. We've basically built these two realistic areas that we're watching. The price has fallen down into that zone. And the question is, are we about to endure a lot further down? Or is the potential that we're just going to be chopping in this area for a little bit until the end of January? I don't know, but I know we got some other people that are going to be popping on the show in a second to give their thoughts.
Absolutely. I said, I want to see 48K. That's the mindset of a winner right there, right? Embracing the pullback. A lot of people on Twitter.
Let me ask you, though, how do you feel? Is this a good inclination of the way the market's making you feel with the never ending up, ping pong, back down, up, sideways? I mean, it's been a frustrating market cycle.
I'm not going to lie. I do feel a little bit of relief because seeing this major pullback, and this is not a small pullback on the daily. I was using the 300 SMA. This was something I used last cycle as well, where we tapped it 1, 2, 3, and then fell below it. It looks like the overall general time, like the frame of this looks a little bit similar, but what I actually think is going to be a little different, I'll tell you a little bit about it, but I recorded it on the nightly video that's coming up, is I actually feel like a 50% drawback from that high, or just about 45% makes a lot of sense. Yes, it could snap down into this 65 zone for sure, but this is a very basic metric that I use to know to back the truck up in these lows. When I started the blockchain basement with TJ, all that time ago, I was forged in the fire, right? We started the channel, kind of leaned into the adversity. Everyone was saying Bitcoin is going to zero. The overall structure does look like a staircase up and to the right. We have to take into account new things have, definitely come to the market, ETFs, nation state interest, stuff like that. Love the bleach move. Shout out to you, Pat McCrotch. Can you do a video? I will do a video on that. I'm actually planning to lock up my aerodrome either tomorrow or the day after. I'm just keeping up with all the content to make, but aerodrome is a project that is making me smile immensely, especially right now. I mean, I'm a little afraid to look at the portfolio here. Let's go here. An aerodrome is up by 12% today. This is actually sparking extreme joy. Canton, not too bad, 8%. Solana trying to make a comeback, Morpho. So, this is actually pretty damn decent for me personally on these altcoins kind of insulating me. There's a lot of alts that are bleeding out hard right now. We are going to spend some more time taking a look at those charts, but I want to bring up a man of mystery, a man of extreme mystery, Piano Matty B. How the hell have you How have you been holding up during this pullback?
Well, pretty good actually, because I've been ad nauseumly calling for 88K for about 2 months. I think even last week I was saying 88K, unfortunately, and I have the best doodle game in the business, and Lord love a duck, it hit 88K just like
absolutely. And it's terrifying how concise you call these things. Now, I just saw the Bitcoin Twitter account post 43K, I think it was, like 46K. Piano Matty B, what in the hell are the Fibonacci sequences telling you on where we are at right now? Because we are bouncing a little bit. We're at 93 and some change right now, but we fell all the way down to 89, and we are deep below that 300-day SMA. So, I mean, just give it to me straight. Give me the diagnosis, my man.
Okay, doke. Well, listen, there's some good news and some bad news. If you see that massive arrow there, that's pointing at the 38.2% fib. And I know for the past few weeks, I come in here and I have to adjust this Fibonacci because I take it from the low from the high to the new low. And so this is what you call the bear market rejection zone. So if we get up to, and I expect it to go to 103, because I'll run this scenario, it'll all make sense, just like a 80s movie or action movie, right? So we start pumping, we get past this 23.6% fib, we're getting close to 100K people. You start seeing all over Twitter, we're back, baby, we're back. Everyone turns bullish. You see Tom Lee and all the other salesmen on CNBS start coming back. Well, we're going to 1,500,000, right? And then we get over 100K, and this is where shit gets real serious. Because this is the 38.2% fib. You see these peepers here? Expect headwind. If we don't get above here, if we don't close above the 38.2% fib, then that is, to me, confirmation that the top was 126 and we're going to feather down to, I think that 40K is a reasonable place to throw a wick.
Oh my God. All right. And what's the price point that golden pocket's at, brother?
103.3.
Okay.
Yeah, so keep the peepers there.
Well, and I found a way, for me personally to kind of make this chart make more sense. Essentially, I just flipped the chart upside down, right?
There you go.
Yeah, this works a lot better for me. So, just a quick highlight. If you want to flip the chart, it looks a lot better. We're kind of trained to look up and to the right. So 103 is essentially where that move that you're looking out for comes. We got to break above it to get back to party town. If we break down below it, that's where you're looking out for new kind of cascading lows.
Yeah, I'd expect the crypto market to come kind of feathering back in. And you can see a lot of things line up too. On the weekly, we got the 50 moving average and the 38.2% fib. There's confluence there, which would just be slightly below this channel of ascension, which was at one point the glorious bull flag on the greatest bull flag that ever existed for this potential bull market. And even on the daily chart here, there's that 20 moving average too, which is slightly below it, and it would come up against this channel of descension. So there's a ton of headwinds at this 38.2% fib. So ultimately busting through it would show a lot of bullish prowess. And at that point, I would say, yeah, maybe we're going for another all-time high. But, you know, and when that day comes, like maybe it'll be on a Tuesday coming up, and we'll be able to see, oh my God, we got rejected from 103.3. We don't want that to happen.
Yeah,
But
I was just like, go ahead.
I wanted
Kelly,
to add too, like if everybody's just in need, they just really need to see price action that is just so exciting, then what they can do, you can check this out. It's 143,000 here. If you just look at it in Australian dollars, if that's not enough, look at it in the the Brazilian real, 497,000. But that's not all. You can go, wait, there's more in Mexican peso, 1.7 million peso Bitcoin. But if you really want to get frothy here, check it out in the Japanese yen. We're sitting at 14,508,000 yen. So there's ways to float your boat right now. I do think I'm still bullish on 2026. I think we have a lot of work to do right now. The sentiment has all but evaporated, as we can see by the dumpster fire, and even top analysts, as you highlighted backstage, Piano Matty B, even top analysts and players in the space are arguing right now. And yet it just feels like there's such unsure footing of what we'd like to see going into the holiday season. But if anything, I feel like we're just getting better and better opportunities. It's the question is, how low is that opportunity to go? Because people are tired of this.
Yeah. Piano Matty B put it best backstage. I mean, these guys are just rich salesmen. I mean, it feels like that. Tom Lee still believes Ethereum is going to hit $7,000 within the next 45 days. I had to post on his timeline because I disagree. Personally, I disagree. But chat, let me know if you think it's possible. One, if we can breach $7,000 within the next 45 days on Ethereum, or are we going to have to spend a little bit more time digging ourselves out? One, for we can do it. Two, hell no, this is not happening. But the sentiment on crypto Twitter is absolutely disgusting. I said good morning to the 23 people that are left. I tried to say good morning, and there's a DDoS attack on Cloudflare. And there was this is a good post, Mert. The sellers are so relentless that they DDoS the entire internet. Absolutely incredible. It's a time frame where,
but this all happens, and at the same time, that same company is doing better than many of the crypto that are out there.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Bizarre circumstance there.
It is. What in S&P 500 is not immune to this, right? And the Dow had extended 5 days of losses, down 2,000 points as the sell-off spread beyond crypto. Nvidia earnings can change everything, and I think this is actually coming out tomorrow. So we got to watch out for the Nvidia earnings tomorrow. See how those do. There's a lot of macro pressures though. AI weakness leading to the SPY and the QQQ weakness, leading down to the crypto weakness. CB Duck thinks that there's one more major flush, then a local bottom. This lines up with what I actually think, where we flush. And I know this is upside down, but I really feel in my heart of hearts like a vibe check at $65,000 makes a whole lot of sense. The difference here is I think we're going to spend less time in these lows than we're used to spending. And actually, probably, in my opinion, I think we can actually end and have a lot of fun in 2026 because of the short amount of time that we'll spend here. This is going to be a giga buying opportunity for me personally. This is all I do is just put the line at the previous highs and back up the truck when we get there. And then I'm not sitting here writhing and complaining because I top blasted charts on the way up. What you got, Kelly?
The other thing is, and this, I know we've talked about this a little bit, but that is this right here. Go ahead, click the button.
Click it. There you
go. Is looking at the Fed decision in December. Now, why do we care about this? Because when we talked about the government shutdown that happened for 40 plus day, that was about a 24% hole in the U.S. economy GDP. And when everybody was expecting, as soon as it opened back up, we were going to start seeing some of the Fed balance sheet stuff, the Treasury general accounts. And I did notice today from a longtime friend of the BitLab family. I used to have him on. Basically, he highlighted this. Check it out. The TGA, the Treasury General Account, is still essentially sitting unchecked. I mean, up here at about $1 trillion. They haven't been rolling this out like many people were expecting to happen as soon as the government reopened. And, you know, it leads to some speculation. Are they leaving this sort of bearish pressure in the market right now without, you know, filling some of those holes because they're trying to influence to make sure we get that rate cut on December 10th? Because remember, the Japanese yen unwind carry trade fiasco that's going on and the uncertainty from the stimulus there and the interest rates on their bond levels. It feels like the U.S., the Treasury Department here and the Fed are walking this tightrope, seeing all this new money printing and different stimulus that's going out globally, that's likely going to start coming in here as well, but then also wanting rate cuts, but also wanting to make sure they can manage inflation. So we're having like a battle of the bureaus right now, the battle of the organizations that pull all the levers in finance right now.
Yeah, it's a weird time too, because the Mag 7 are doing exponentially well, but Main Street basically being left to die. I see the comment about Monad. I've actually been meaning to check out Monad. I can't even get into my Coinbase app without them shilling Monad relentlessly to me. But there's a bit of a disconnect between the average person in America and Wall Street. Now the U.S. companies lost 2,500 jobs per week in October. According to ADP data, the Department of Labor also is reporting initial jobless claims totaling 232,000 jobs in the week ending October 18th. And we're having Americans defaulting at a pace not seen in essentially decades, right? We're having middle class defaulting on their credit cards, defaulting on their loans at an exponential rate. And the outlook of this stimmy check, it's not cutting the cheese, right? We got Scott Bessent coming out here. The $2,000 dividend could come in a lot of forms. It could be just tax decreases. It could be no tax on tips for waitresses, right? So there is no clear decision. And that's what, coming at the end or the middle of next year, like that's not going to fix the problem in the short term. Companies like NVIDIA printing, Google printing, and AI is replacing a lot of jobs. That's where I feel like there's such a disconnect between how the average American or person feels with how the stock market's been performing. It's almost like this great replacement. So that's how I personally.
One of the other things that you've mentioned, and I'm curious to get your take on this too, Piano Matty B. We see this rotation over the course of the bull market cycle over the last year and a half, and also within the bear market before that, where you have these sort of rotations of where the capital in terms of timeframes, whether it's the U.S. market, the Euro market, or the Asian market, is driving the primary driver on price action. And I noticed this because you were talking about how some of the trades you want to take, you miss because it feels like the Asian market's kind of driving things right now. And you look at this and it actually shows we've had a sort of a negative Coinbase premium, meaning the U.S. based purchasers and people that are trading and investing, buying, selling, whether it be institutions or individuals, there's a negative gap here, meaning there's more sell pressure coming in on the U.S. But then beyond that, that's also diminished. We're also seeing the recent price movements are being driven primarily by retail on Binance, which is a substantial portion of the Asian market there. I'm just curious to get your thoughts on that. Do you think we're going to see that narrative switch when we get a bit more confidence on the risk side here in the U.S. Piano Matty B, or is it like that Jakey post? I don't think we shared that to the audience, but where everything is just feels like it's up in the air.
We're sharing it. Now you brought it up, I have to share it. Okay, because this is the sentiment of crypto Twitter. And I absolutely love Jakey for putting this out there. It's a very, very ugly time in politics here in America. I'm probably black-pilled forever at this point, unfortunately. But here's Jakey. You connects to the toilet, Bitcoin below 100K, whispers of sailor selling, Jeffrey E. being talked about as Satoshi, right? And then Trump with the Bubba conversation here. So this is how Republican voters feel. This is how crypto investors feel. But I just had to share that. You said it. I had to do it.
Sums it up perfectly.
It's
That's basically a perfect representation. I like to look at things like the movie and the simulation that it is. And if I was a writer in the writer's room as to how this would play out, this is how I would write this ending. I would think that leading up to the midterms, right, we are going to see a redemption arc from the Trump slump. So right now, I think the writers have healed Trump, to coin a wrestling term. They've made him into a heel. They're growing animosity towards everything, the betrayal. You betrayed us. Everything you're doing has gone to shit, and everyone's right. But I think in this great redemption arc, to make this the solid simulation that we're used to, is that he will, and I think it's beginning with Epstein files and then the $2,000 stimulus. This is going to turn him, like when a wrestler's down and then all of a sudden you see his fists start to come up like that. That's what we're going to see happen with Trump and his administration. And they're going to write themselves in to the hero role just in time for those midterms. And with the hero role comes a booming economy. And listen, if that doesn't play out, it's going to be a cold winter.
No.
So it's really all or nothing. It's either that happens or we lose everything for maybe 4 more years. Like a Bitcoin will Bitcoin, obviously. It'll have its run up, but we may say, let's say he screws this up and we go back into like a Kamala Harris type of US. Well, nothing's going to be good for a solid 4 years. We're going to have to live it out, but we've done it. We lived it out through Biden, right? It wasn't completely horrible, but it was, Bitcoined.
At least Biden was quiet. He just stayed on the beach eating ice cream and doing whatever the hell he was doing. So, David Bailey had some interesting words about this too. He runs Bitcoin Magazine. Price Action says something big is happening in his opinion, talking about global liquidity and a credit crisis unfolding. As Bitcoin is the most visible and responsive indicator of it, signs of distress in traditional markets are everywhere. The last time he shorted a bank was Signature Bank back in 2023 at the local bank crisis with SVB. And he opened a new short on a different bank last week, kind of squeezing some juice out of the loss of value that these banks are having right now. Eventually, the money printer is going to be turned back on in size, but these are obviously his own personal thoughts. This is where my mind can't be sold that a liquidity provision for banks is going to make its way into the hands of the average person. Because in 2023, they completely skipped the middle class. They did not give a damn about the average person and their pain. They basically just did an emergency bailout for banks and banks only. So it's a thing where it's a little aggravating. And this is my favorite chart in crypto. Kelly, take the wheel. Explain to people what this chart really means.
I'll do it super simple. See where it says caused a great financial crisis? That dip with those bars to the downside right here. That is what caused the economy to collapse in 2008. That's the mild level of stress. Now you ask yourself, does this look with these exponentially deeper, meaning a lot more stress in the market? Does this look like things are in a really good position? But the difference is Bitcoin was born out of this, really. And now Bitcoin is here. And so Bitcoin is the liquidity engine of Signal. I kind of agree with David Bailey on that because it's 24/7, 365, and it's a lot easier to access. And it's a much more sensitive to any sort of risk matrix, whether it be risk on or risk off. And so that's why I think even though we're seeing a dip right now, I think remembering that there's an infinite top for money printing, which means that's going to be captured into Bitcoin because it is a fixed cap supply, and as low as it can go, the better off we are being able to buy.
Yeah.
That's the end of the movie, essentially. Like that redemption arc I was talking about, the end of that movie plays out with the planned destruction of the US dollar and its hegemony into Bitcoin. So they'll have no option. They'll make it seem like they had no option, but all along, why do you think all these massive institutions are stacking like wild? So where it gets a little dark is that I believe what we're seeing here with the exchanges and the wash trading and the bad rap they're all getting, and you don't go on these exchanges, they just wick you out, which is true. I think they're going to slowly close off those on and off ramps where any exposure to Bitcoin will have to be through like the big five, whatever those big fives are.
Yeah.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I saw Donald Sims's post. I will 100% agree that Trump is one of the reasons in this last year and a half. I think on the one hand, there is expectation because the administration was going to be so forward, or at least inverse what we saw in the last administration around, building in good legislation and such. But at the same time, I mean, you'd agree, Drew. I know you'd agree too, Piano Metabe. Anytime there seems to be like a very good bid in the market, and not just Bitcoin, but the rest of the market as well. It's not just Bitcoin dipping right now. There is a lack of confidence about what the expectation is over the next quarter and beyond. And part of the reason right now is because the government just opened, but it's only open on a temporary basis through January. And those continuing resolutions should be for another year, not for, hey, you got 60 days. Nobody does big things with big amounts of money if they have no clarity beyond, 6-8 weeks from now.
Right. And that's why I highlighted that comment, is because it's the Neanderthal behind the keyboard there. And you don't watch this channel, obviously, if you come in here and tell me that I will never admit anything is Trump's fault. Like, I am black-pilled to the point where I don't even know what the hell to do for the next election, right? Like, it is something like I posted. And, also, I think I'm going to follow John Cena back, guys. I think it's time. So I will get back to I was on a different subject, but it looks like they're coming out with a new Honda Prelude, and John Cena is going to be shilling the Honda Prelude. So I'm going to give you a follow back, John. You just got the follow back. Over and under. I loved the Honda Prelude when I was in high school.
The Honda Prelude was sick.
Yeah. I mean, well, have you ever had one? Like, maybe, what's your thoughts on the Honda Prelude? We're talking about serious shit here.
Well, when I was younger, the cool kids had the Ludes, right? They drove the Ludes around. I, drove my mom's car around. But man, did I love the Lude.
Dude, I mean, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. But on the term of where I'm at politically, it's basically this. So I was a man that hoped we could make our voices heard at the polls. I absolutely admit that. I thought we could vote our way out of this disgusting, idiotic monetary policy. I thought that we could reinvigorate the ideals of hope and freedom here in the United States, and Beyonce up in Kanadistan. But instead, what we got is 0 arrests made against the elites who sold this country out, an expansion of the IRS rather than a abolishment of the IRS. We get wall kissing going on across the political spectrum. Thankfully, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not one of those asshats.
Yeah.
AI super surveillance state rolled out with the Palantir deal. Disgusting amounts of bailouts for banks and mainstream left to crumble into nothing. But I can't wait for the $2,000, whatever the hell it's going to be, stimulus at the end of next year, though. It's just, that's where I am very, very honest about my feelings, my opinion. I've always taken pride in doing so. And sometimes it gets me in trouble, but honestly, it's protected me from falling for the wrong coins and basically paring down my portfolio to things that are showing good value. So
can you go back to that list for 1 second? Your list.
Yeah.
See, the important thing to take away from this is that the zero arrest, expansion of the IRS, wall kissing, AI super surveillance, all those things, those are the disease, right? So the disease is the cure. So when it comes to the change that we all kind of look forward to having, some of the turning points that people will base their voting decision on, did this politician kiss some wall in the Middle East? Yes. Well, no. Are they going to expand the IRS? Yes. Well, no. So all these things that we're seeing here that Trump is failing to do or pull out or whatever, those will be that's the disease, and the disease will be the cure moving forward.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Oh my God. What is this? Cyber war? What is this, Kelly? What in the world? Technology evolves humans. Oh my God. Yeah. I'm not looking forward to
humans, not so much. I mean, we look at, there's probably an enormous list of amazing benefits of having massive AI infrastructure. But the truth is, and they've done this in every sort of study you can imagine, we've all seen it play out in real time, power corrupts. And when you consolidate the ability to track every movement, every decision, every thought, your eye constriction of your retinas on response that you're not even actually responding to on a public, that is control. And so I think the consolidated controls of people that then has the consolidated control power through AI, I think is a very scary subject matter. And it's crazy now, especially with big tech, whether it's Google AI, Google, Meta, XAI, OpenAI, all these Palantir, Enduro, all these things. We see what happened in China. We see what's going on in the is real. It's very real. We understand that. You think they're going to do it different here? No, it's just
Right.
we're earlier along that path in terms of getting those things deployed. I think they'll do it more subversively here until it's beyond the ability to reverse it.
Another thing I'm kind of scared of is Thanksgiving, talking to the loved ones about crypto. So
This is the best tweet of the year, by the way.
Make sure to bring up politics heavily at Thanksgiving this year. You can save a lot of money on Christmas presents for your extended family if you only talk about politics. You can follow me for more FA here. And then Crappy Crypto Trader. I'm the one person in the extended family that's into crypto. Here's him trying to figure out what to say when they start to ask him. Kiana Matty B, it's kind of a weird year to talk about crypto to your loved ones. Are you planning to do it at the dinner table for Thanksgiving this year?
Well, I've managed to orange pill most of my family. However, they're the retail of retail traders, right? So I get phone calls all the time. Oh my God, it's going down. What should I sell? I'm like, and then when it goes up, they're like, oh my God, it's going up. I should buy more, right? And like you got this opposite, right? But the thing is that moving forward, I'm not sure. To tell you the truth, I really care about saving people as much as I did. I know that sounds harsh, but I just think sometimes when you see this volatility come back and the price dumps, how crypto Twitter falls apart and everyone starts attacking each other. It's like, this isn't what this is supposed to be, right? This is a life raft. So like it's easier when you have a potential legacy, when you have kids. To me, your kids, like your boys and girls, will be telling their friends, well, my dad saved our family because he invested in these hard assets. And that's the only reason we're living the life we lead, is the things we're doing now. So it gets a little bigger than just the price dropping or these phone calls from noobs. So I don't know. I think I just might sit on my hands and only unleash hell when asked.
Okay. That's a reasonable approach.
Because usually I unleash hell without being asked.
Well, I talked, I don't want to say talked them into, but I brought up different aspects of Bitcoin and some proxies and some other things to some family members a few years ago. And it finally clicked for them when the market was at a top. And I never told them to buy at a top. Never. I mean, I told, Bitcoin was probably 62,000. And they ended up finally buying it $124,700. And now they're mad. It's like, first off, I told you where currently you would actually still be up from when you asked me about it. Secondly, it's the same thing as you said. This goes back to what everybody needs to realize, even everybody watching this show. If you can't endure it, if you're going to be making emotional decisions, you're too exposed. And if that means you only have 2% in and that's where you're comfortable, then that means you should only have 2% in. If you can ride or die, like Drew and I, we beat our head up against the wall sometimes. Sometimes it's like, man, I don't know what the hell is going to happen, but I'm not changing my stance on the market of if I should get in or out. Sometimes I try to figure out where I can find more capital flow or do something, play guitar, play with my dog, get out away from the charts. I think we all get far too locked in to the charts, to crypto Twitter, to YouTubers, to X Spaces, it's like, no, man, remember why we're doing this. Family, access to resources, the ability to give our access to resources to our family and friends, to have more time, to have less stress. So why the hell are you stressing yourself out? If you are, that's a signal. Change your strategy.
Yeah, they rarely listen though, right? They rarely listen. Like they'll still tell me crypto lost them money when I was trying to talk to them about it when Bitcoin was $8,000. Like I'm still the bad guy. It doesn't matter. And when I have been paring down my altcoin portfolio months ago and over the past few months, a lot of people kind of hit me up calling me an idiot, saying that I was stupid for consolidating into revenue generating projects and heavily into the base DeFi system. And now I wake up, Aerodrome is feeling fancy. Okay, so we got Aerodrome Finance up 13% now, but wait, there's more. They're doing a 580,000 Aerodrome buyback Public Goods Fund has acquired and max locked 580,000 aerodrome as part of its programmatic market aware buyback model. More than 150 million aerodrome has been acquired and locked to date via Flight School, the PGF, and Relay. And this, I'm going to be locking up my aerodrome. I think that aerodrome is one of the projects that's going to have staying power and last into the next bull market, the next move, whenever that may come. I actually think it's going to kick back off in 2026, and a lot of people won't be there to experience the move, unfortunately. And Chainlink, with the November 22nd activation with Swift,
and
might be a coincidence.
And Chainlink is sitting. It may fall further, but Chainlink is sitting. I mean, it's sitting on the edge of what is the most frustrating thing ever, because it's a multi-year, back to 2020, support. And we're coming, and when the price hit this upper tranche here, this upper level resistance, we drew this box down here. It's like, oh, it's going to be interesting if that drops back down, but it's still within the range here in this basically high 12s to low 14s. And we're literally sitting right on that. So it would get a little, I won't say worrisome. It'd get like emotionally cumbersome if the price does drop a little bit more. But I think if it did, I'd be watching for a good opportunity in the mid 11s. But it's going live finally on Swift in 4 days from now. Does that mean it's going to pump from here? I don't know.
Well, there's coincidences.
We may get a washout first and then go. We may just bounce here, but we're on a multi-year support as we see it.
Yeah,
Can you go back to that chart for a second?
Yeah, absolutely. Pull it up.
So, if we drift down Bitcoin price wise into like a 60, 70, I would expect Chainlink, if you move the cursor up a bit, where that consolidation, no, down. I think it's around $7 or something. Is that where that consolidation is?
Oh, that'd be, yeah,
right there.
Sevens.
I would expect Chainlink to hit that if we do feather down into a crypto winter.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not out of pocket. It's not out of pocket. No, I mean, talking about this stuff matters because Chainlink is one of the ones that's systemically important for crypto. And there's a lot of cool shit that I wanted to highlight here before we get too lost in our middle astrology, is that banks are now allowed to hold crypto for paying network fees as of 30 minutes ago. And in 4 days, Swift is actually updating messaging standards to allow blockchain-based messaging to add the standards specifically for oracles and blockchain network fees. So this is happening at a god-awful time in the market where it looks like we're pulling down. We're well below that 300 SMA. Things look bearish to me, but if I saw a $5 to $7 Chainlink, I am backing the absolute truck up on it because I feel it is systemically important for the existence of crypto. I really, really do. So there's not a bunch of altcoins I can say that about either. And that's why maybe I'm not the cool guy that's part of some massive community of meme coin enthusiasts that show up at every space. Maybe I don't get hundreds of likes on some meme coin post because I'm not posting about the meme coins. I just have to be honest with people on what I think is valuable.
I just noticed something too on the Chainlink chart. Look at where we're sitting right now. Not only on that support line, it's also the golden pocket from this entire move up. We're literally sitting on so if we do lose this, it does look a little bit more precarious that we're going to be, dropping into probably sub 10, and that $7 does start looking attractive.
Yeah. What you got, Panama B?
Well, I think what we're witnessing here is, as the institutions come in, they don't play to absorb some, they play to absorb all, right? So until the institutions have gathered everything they need and close off the off ramps and on ramps for poor retail, at that moment, you're going to see everything we're talking about, all these coins and Bitcoin, just go to the moon, because at that point, they're in charge. So until they're in charge, and we see the push and pull, right? We see like retail's in charge, no institutions, no this hedge fund, no. As soon as they're in charge, 100%, then it's off.
So, Trump tweet.
Yeah, absolutely. Good job, Ducey. Still in that, Jesus, 50x long. I didn't read all that, but I'm glad you're still alive in that trade. I lost a couple $100.
What trade is that?
On a trade. Yeah, I think he was like trading an alt.
Where's the entry?
It was from yesterday, but the altcoins have actually been holding up pretty dang good, you guys. Like, I mean,
it's pretty surprising if you think about it, like with the dominance and such.
Right.
It's, I mean,
This is fun. This is
yeah.
fun. Let's actually pull up the Bitcoin dominance chart. You want to do that? Let's look at the Bitcoin dominance chart because I feel that there's some love here for altcoins here. Let's look at this. What do we got here?
Yeah,
Kelly?
if this pushes up, this sucks for altcoins. If this rejects here and continues down and actually continues down, then we're either going to see altcoins appreciating or holding their level better than Bitcoin is falling, or they're moving up against Bitcoin faster than it's moving up. But this would be good for altcoins. This moving down, and we got this. We see the MACD is rolled over. It's looking like it wants to make another leg to the downside. But remember, guys, you don't want to see everything go up. In the case, if you're holding altcoins, you want to see Bitcoin dominance go down. So you want to see bearish structures on this. And this looks, boom, came up, retested this previous range low, rejected with this large wick. And it does look like it's, it's very precarious. Is this also another potential into the cycle narrative? Because it's after Bitcoin has its cycle, that's when you tend to see alts run as well.
Dude, maybe.
Do you have can you pull a fib from the top there to the bottom and see where that wick is at the 38.2% fib? That would be very disheartening.
Yeah.
Is it the 38.2% fib that it got rejected from?
This is the wick right through the 38.2. This is the 38.2 here.
So rejected. It did get, because it didn't close above, so it got rejected. Yeah, that's well, to me that would signal continued Bitcoin dominance going down.
Whoa. There's a good question for Kelly here from Art Caffeine. Do you think that this is where the decoupling takes place? I think he's highlighting this chart. I mean, is this the moment? It looks weaker than hell. This Bitcoin dominance chart looks weaker than hell.
It does look weak. I think the coupling even question, the nature of that is changing entirely right now. I think because the composition of the altcoin market from 10 to 100 to 1,000 to 10,000 to now 20 million plus altcoins that are out there. Let's ignore every meme coin that's in existence and just think about the actual coins that projected they had some sort of utility. That would still be in the tens of thousands, probably into the 100,000 range. There's a huge diversification, dilution of where capital is in the market. And I think this over the next 2 years, we're going to really see the crunch time of what's getting integrated, what type of assets are actually attracting larger capital, especially from institutional players or big money investors. I do think there's going to be decoupling within the altcoin ecosystem. And while dominance could fall, we may have 200 altcoins do really well and everything else is crashing because of how much more money is at the top of that coin market cap for altcoins versus once you get on the page 200, 300, 400, they could all die and the dominance could still drop while those top blue chips are actually running.
Right. I want to address this too. Go ahead, Matty B, while I pull up this chart. What you got, buddy?
I would add to that along the same lines as them closing the on and off ramps. Like as we are coming up to 2024, we barely got a Bitcoin ETF, right? That was like a massive thing. And then all of a sudden it's like everything ETF. So it's my humble opinion of this piano that all those ETFs will be the only on-ramp to get these kind of blue chip altcoins. And then the sandbox will be a whole nother parallel universe of where the degens probably happen with a kind of small decentralized meme coin exchange. But all those blue chips will be ETFs and ETFs only. So if you do have them now, put them in cold storage.
I liked this question. We should talk about this as well. Where did this question go? Okay. So guys, what would you consider the bull market being back on and talking about Bitcoin, asking about 105K? I want to see a reclamation of this 300 SMA, which is like 103.8 basically. Piano Matty B, is that kind of the general thought process for you? Like, let's go around the horn. I'll go to Piano Matty B and then Kelly, because like some people say 107. I just want the 300 SMA to be reclaimed on the daily to feel good and not just be looking down from here. But what would you think the bull market signal that we are back to cooking really is?
Well, first of all, we have to get over the 38.2% fib, which is 103. That's just to even open up the conversation again. At that point, though, I don't think we can even talk bull market. This is the daily chart, by the way, until we're over the 200 moving average. I mean, we can't have a bull party under the 200 moving average on the daily. So that's 110. And that's not just throwing a wick. We need to close above 110 to even say that the bull runs up again.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kelly?
I think, it's interesting you say those levels, because what I'm seeing on my chart, I'm letting you click the buttons there. That bull gateway that I already had outlined here is the 107 to about 110. This region. Why? Because we have all these lows, these highs, these highs. This is that area that I'd first want to see price action reclaim. But then in addition to that, we have this golden pocket of this full move. If this is the low, that golden pocket's right in that 112 to 113 sort of range. So I think we need to get above this, like maybe potential rejection, support, and then continuation. Anything below this, even if we get beyond the 382, you guys need to realize the 382 that Piano Matty B is referencing. 382s are very bearish bounce levels to reject from. You could still reject all the way up here at the golden pocket, and that would still be in the context of, basically a dead cat bounce. So we've got to get over, I'd say 114 to start to have some confidence that risk is returning.
What do you got here, Matty B? I mean, what does that look like on your chart?
I'm just looking at 114 here. It's yeah, you're right, because like we have this channel of eternal monotony that we've been in for a year. So 114 is just slightly underneath it. So I mean, a rejection from that would just kind of reiterate what we've been going through the past years, just rejecting from this. Like, look how much time we've spent above 115. Just almost just a few weeks. It's actually kind of sad when you take a look at it, right? It's not much of a bull run when we only spent, I don't know what this is, maybe a month above 116 just from the daily chart. I mean, there's more time before June and everything, but we spent the summer bummer, underneath. It wasn't till right here in July that we actually got above it,
Okay.
So we haven't spent too much time in it.
That's true. These are things we must take into account. And a lot of people, I think the most bearish sentiment is coming from a lot of altcoins that have kind of been left behind. This is just to put it in context where all the nasty sentiment's coming from. Over the last 90 days, only 17 of 100 of the top 100 coins are in the green. Everything else is in the red, including most every token in the top 10. And this is where the sadness is coming from. This massive pile of altcoins that are within the top 100 that are down bad. Right now, the only one out of these down bad ones that I would be loading the truck up on if we came back down to accumulation zone is Chainlink.
Hey, I picked up 830 of them today.
You did? Okay.
Did.
More conviction on it. All right. I like it.
The multi-year trend line. The drops lower. I got to figure out where I hang out my leg in traffic and try to get some more capital.
Well, the chat's been kind of wild. I see some folks are out there buying right now. Are you guys buying? I mean, I know I just bought Linnea, and I bought what was the other one that we bought? It was Linnea and then the Canton Network. But are you guys buying crypto in the chat? I want to know. Just let me know if you're leaning into this chaos, because how I'm approaching it is waiting for confirmation the bull is back. Until then, I'm going to be looking for scalp shorts at a few different spots. My first spot in mind is basically at right around 96,500 bucks. Then I would be putting in another scalp short right at about $106,000, just in case this is a dead cat bounce, false move, something like, either like this where you come barely up and then start going back down again, or if we have a stronger resurgence like that and then back down again. But it's kind of a way I'm hedging, right? Where I'm looking at the structure, I flip it upside down to make a happy little graph. And I'm like, in general, if I'm backed up and looking at this looks like an inverse head and shoulders to me. Like if I'm just looking at this.
Well, it's a start. It definitely looks like a reversal pattern. And in that case, it does look like it wants to go up, which on an inverted chart, which would mean price crashing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's just me. But I'm holding the alts that I feel are infrastructurally important because I think that they have staying power. And there's a lot of people that are waiting to sell the bounce. Kind of looks like Buzz Lightyear. waiting on the shelf for his moment to sell the bounce. This is the sentiment on crypto Twitter. It is down bad. And so if you got people that are still showing up for you, still doing the research, still actually being honest with you, because a lot of creators, you're going to see a reckoning for a lot of creators over the next few months if the price action stays below this zone. But I see pretty big things.
I want to share something just because we forget that there's new people here all the time. I saw somebody ask Kelly, or they said, hey, how are you buying Canton? This is, everybody should know this. You should not call yourself an investor or a trader in this market if you don't know this simple thing. Come to coinmarketcap.com, come over to the search area, type in whatever. In this case, it's Canton. So a Canton, we see, and it's right there. Boom, click on it. And it gives you all this data. And then it also has these little tabs right here. Click on markets. Boom, tells you everywhere you can buy it, and also tells you the pairs you can buy it on all the different pages. And that is how you figure out that's where you don't have to go into a YouTube, say, well, what exchange is it on? If you cannot figure out how to do this basic thing, you should not be investing in trading. And with that, the more you know.
All right, I got to deal with something in the chat. Art Caffeine, okay. Saying I'm secretly buying XRP.
You are banned!
Okay.
You know.
There you go, buddy. There you go. No, I do hold a little bit of XRP for the culture, though. I do. I bought it a long time ago. This is a time frame where people that don't have a stomach for the volatility in the market are going to be punished. I lean in. I buy when it is painful. Right now, my heart wants to be bullish. Structurally, though, it looks like a vibe check at 70K. And we're seeing stuff like this, that is some bodies floating up to the top of the Ganges River right now. DAP radar calling it quits. DAP radar.
Drew, you called it. You called this about 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a little understated, underrated what you said. And that was this. Much like investors and traders in this market who were banking on the roadmap that they expected, remember, all these companies, institutions, and projects out there are run by people. And there's many of them, and this probably is one of those cases where the way they're budgeting funds and also allocating things and planning their timeline over 2025 into 2026 probably banked on them having some pretty big profits on either the coin itself attached to the project or where they're putting their money, that they're expecting some expansion and profits. And we're starting to see, not only with the washout October 10th, but also just the flat level of price action in altcoins and Bitcoin kind of not hitting the highs in Ethereum. I think we're going to start seeing a couple more beyond DAP radar. I think we're going to start seeing some stress in the markets as this is realized into the illiquidity of budgeting for these.
It's an uncomfortable thing to say that stuff too, right? I mean, people didn't want to believe that, but you're darn right. A lot of these organizations planned on some massive, incredible, blow your hair back, blow off top for altcoins included at the end of this year. It did not happen for a vast majority of the altcoins, and there's probably going to be some more blood there. Shout out to you, Silver Days. Also,
do you guys have any DATs on your suicide watch?
What? Do I have any?
Do you have any treasury?
I mean,
treasury companies.
I don't think. I mean, I can't imagine Nakamoto is going to go under, but it drops so ridiculous, so ridiculous. Even MicroStrategy strategies drop from 500, 600, all the way sub 200, and that's pretty big for people that are trying to get into this other asset because they don't want the direct Bitcoin exposure, and now you're getting more volatility. I think we're going to start seeing some acquisitions if the price stresses more.
Look at this nightmare
early next year.
So this is a stock I invested into, and it was originally called Safety Shot. And what it does, it's like a drink that lowers your blood alcohol level by metabolizing the alcohol, right? So it's a cool product. I was like, all right, I'm going to get in on this. And then literally like a month later, they built a treasury of bonk. They renamed the ticker BNKK. It comes up as Bonk Inc. And this is going to zero. I hate everything about it. I hold it. Absolutely retarded. And there's going to be a lot of, I think actually the Solana treasuries might end up looking pretty good next year. I think Solana the DeFi, the staking on the ETFs for Solana are going to give some good action, which is why I've added some of those mechanisms behind Solana staking to the portfolio, like Marinade, Jito, and Camino. And these are at disgusting, extreme lows. I didn't do any more. Like the most I did was like, I think 2% or 1% on each one of these things, but they are at insane lows. And these are the mechanisms that are heavily used for staking on Solana. And Marinade is actually part of one of the first ETFs to be approved here in the US for staked Solana ETFs. The SEC's kind of turning a blind eye. They've removed crypto from its 2026 priorities list, signaling it no longer considers it a risk area. So, I added to the package. I added some Solana DeFi mechanisms that are at insanely low levels. I didn't over allocate myself and overexpose. They could go to zero and I wouldn't even wince. But I do think that there is some potential for upside there. Okay, is thinking that Solana ETF or DeFi is going to replace ETH slowly but surely. Oh man, that'd be absolutely crazy. Someone else is asking, what's that, Kelly?
There is bearishness to pay attention to right now.
Yeah,
a lot, but there is some hope. Remember, QT is ending just around the corner.
Oh, sorry.
And this chart from Matthew Hyland, if this were to play out in any way like this is all, most of your altcoins out there. This is where QT ended last time. Boom, right here on this chart. And look at what happened afterwards. We did come back and retest it, but this was a major gain, reset, even larger gain. We've just now getting into the point where it's telegraphed, if it still happens, December 1st, which is, 12 days from now, that we may be in. Let's just say this. We are in such a frustrating scenario of the markets because everything technically right now says, man, we're about to have a lot of pain. But then you dig a little deeper. Somebody is saying the ISM there in the chart, talking about the business cycle and the fact that we also have QT and the fact that we have money printing and middle of next year, we're going to have stimulus checks. There's so much enduring bullishness beyond looking at these 4-hour charts. We may swing down low 80s, maybe even mid 70s. I think that I'm not as much on that bandwagon. I'm still a little bit more of a bull. But I think it's cautious time right now. And I think 2026 is going to prove to us that we're not in a 4-year cycle. Maybe we're in a 5-year or 6-year cycle or something different with all these institutions coming in.
I think this chart's pretty powerful for what the roadmap of 2026 is actually going to be. I really do feel that way. But a lot of people aren't going to be able to hold their crypto into that time frame. Crypto tonight, Fed will be forced to cut rates. Job report Thursday is going to be ugly. Yes, it is looking very, very bad. Boogaloo Bum down for the electric dance party. I see you, baby. I see you, baby. What is this chart, Kelly? You were talking about this a little bit earlier. Is this the Treasury
General account? And so you would expect it with the government having been reopened that they would start rolling this off and start injecting 100, 200, 300 billion dollars into the market. And they haven't done that. So this raises a question. Is the Treasury deliberately keeping the TGA elevated to pressure the Fed toward outright easing? I don't know.
Okay. I feel like we had a very balanced conversation. Well, go ahead, Matty B. I like this conversation.
You got to hand it to Michael Saylor, though, because in this bull run, there's been almost nothing but lies told about every aspect of what's going to happen. But the one thing Michael Saylor said from the beginning and still says to this day, and it's the one thing that's rung more true than anything, he said, all your models will be broken. And sure enough, I mean, there's not one model in this bull run that has played out to fruition, from liquidity to M2 to nothing. All the models have been broken. Thank you, Michael Saylor.
Oh, you're bringing up the elf. You sit on a throne of lies. I got to watch this movie now. I love holiday movies. I'm in the holiday spirit. None of this price action, none of this uncertainty is going to ruin my holiday spirit. I'm approaching this great unknown. We are in stagflation. Bitcoin's never experienced stagflation. I look at this structurally as likely a dead cat bounce and going lower, but that is for my tether. I'm holding structurally important altcoins and Bitcoin regardless of all this. And it's just a time frame. I have to be a little bit reactionary. I'm not a fortune teller that can say exactly how Bitcoin's going to react to actual stagflation in the United States. Job market looks like absolute garbage. Main Street's being left behind in the dust, and people's sentiment is at extreme lows. The McRib has failed us. Rob got it. Bought a McRib for nothing. This is the situation at hand. You know what I mean? So I am essentially feeling like we have to be prepared for a 4-year cycle downturn. I am getting prepared for that. It's something that I've been in crypto long enough where, you know, you buy low, you sell high, and then everyone complains at you because you're not, you know, buying their chart that's on a 10% upswing on a daily candle. You're missing out. You're not top blasting charts. And honestly, I don't want to see people top blasting charts. I am not going to do it myself. Silopra wants his kidney back. That ain't happening. Okay.
And remember, every single person in the market, every one of them's got the diabetes. All right. Every one of them. I don't care if you're right, left, center. Anybody that's in government has got a significant case of the diabetes. So just remember that. Even with all this data with the government closed for a short period of time, now we have this skewed. You have to stack in investment assets. Otherwise, you're going to get run over by the freight train that is the Fed and money printing. And so be patient, love your family, love your friends, and do not catch a case of the diabetes yourself.
Good advice. Very good conversation today, boys. Okay. Very, very good conversation. I absolutely loved it. Piano Matty B, let people know where to find you, because obviously they're here on Discover Crypto, but where can they keep up with you, bro?
Every morning, 8 a.m. Central Mountain Time, I do a live stream. We talk about the charts, and then we get into some other things, but it's a good time to have a cup of coffee enjoyed around the world.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, Rob, I saw his dog passed away. Sorry about that, Rob.
Yeah, very sorry to hear that.
Very sad. Well, we love you guys. Stay focused, stay based. It's going to be a turbulent time frame. The holidays are here. If you're afraid of your drunk uncle, don't bring up crypto. And if you want to save on Christmas, bring up politics. Just talk politics the whole time. You're going to be great. Stay focused, you guys. We'll see you on the next episode. Piano Matty B, much love to your brother, and we will see you very, very soon.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.